ladies and gentlemen of internet land. Welcome to another edition of Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog, which in the wintertime turns into an almost weekly walking vlog. I think I have walked maybe 3 times in the past 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Today it's about 30 degrees, 32. Warmer than it has been. So we will go for a walk. Now, yesterday it was in the low 30s. The sun was out. It would have been a great day for a walk, but as luck would have it, I had a headache. So, pretty bad one too. So we're going to go for a walk. Tonight, it's going to be an especially dangerous full moon tonight. Dangerous because it's called the wolf moon. So watch out for the werewolves. Make sure you're carrying your silver bullets. Be ready for anything. Cut across here. Now, today should be a 6-mile walk. And if you're new to the walks, well, I understand walking with somebody for 6 miles, watching it on video is pretty boring, but this is specifically a walk for health reasons, to stay healthy, stay in shape, specifically for people over 50 like myself. I have walked 11.39 miles since January 1st. Today is the 13th. If you're familiar with my walks, you know that I do at least 5 miles every walk, and I walk just about every day, weather permitting, is what the asterisk means. We have not had good walking weather. We've had a lot of high winds this winter. So when the temperature is 25 degrees and the wind is howling, it feels literally like it's 0 or 10 degrees. Fortunately, once you build up stamina for walking, it takes a couple, 3 months to lose it. So, should still be fine. Last walk I did was 5 3/4 miles. My lower back was barking at me, the muscles. I hadn't had enough sleep the night before. So that walk was not enjoyable, other than I got to walk, which was enjoyable. So now a little warmer today. We've gone over half a mile already. And I'm starting to get warm. I can feel that pre-warmth, I call it, where you start to sweat. And when it's really cold, you usually don't feel that until the first mile. So I saw an interesting reply today from Congressman Jared Golden, who was re-elected, unfortunately, by the slimmest of margins here in Maine, in a red district. And he won basically from the Democrat vote in Lewiston, Auburn area. It's basically what put him over the top. He's a gun grabber. And it pisses me off because he was the only Democrat who was not going after our guns. Voted against all gun legislation. And now he's going to support some of it. And what he wants, at first he said Maine should not have AR rifles, assault style rifles. It's an important distinction to put the word style in there, because they are not assault rifles. Assault styled rifles make sense because they're made to look like military weapons, though they are not. What classifies as a military weapon? Well, a real assault weapon has select fire, for one thing, where you can have just semi-auto, 1 round at a time, or 3-round bursts, or full auto. So, anti-gun groups are the ones that made assault rifles popular, that term, in the 90s. And it's made up. There's no such thing as a civilian assault rifle. There are just semi-automatic rifles. So, they don't use magic bullets. So anyway, he first came out saying they should be banned. Now he's saying he supports a semi-automatic rifle ban after changing his mind, saying that we should register them with the government. Now he is saying they should be banned. Any future AR sales be prohibited in Maine. And here's the kicker. The existing ones must be registered with the government. That's what he said he wants. So, I emailed his office with the quote from his email with that information. And I said, I read your email response to another gun owner, comma, and I said, you, sir, can go fuck yourself. And then I said, have a nice day. That's all I said. And I didn't use the expletive word, I used GFY, but that's what that means. I said, yeah, GFY, ... gun grabber. That's what I said. And then I said, have a nice day. I'm not going to comply with that. I've already decided that. I'm going to have to go arrest citizens. I don't think that's ever going to pass in Maine anyway. So anyway, I will flip the camera around up ahead somewhere. But I just wanted to explain my walks for people tuning in for the first time or new to the channel. I still have not made my gunpowder video public yet. The reason being, somebody's going to nitpick online. I said this pistol I got was stainless steel. People are going to tell me it's not. What it is polished steel. It's not stainless. And I'm debating whether or not I should re-record the video. Because if I put the video online and I put a disclaimer at the bottom and say it's actually not stainless, people are not going to see that and they're going to leave a comment anyway. So I find stuff like that to be highly annoying. I said I was going to put the video up, and I should. I think I will. But I'm just letting you know why it's not there. If you were even wondering that. So with that, the other thing I do on my walks is I talk about whatever pops in my head at the moment. Sometimes might be interesting, sometimes it might not be. And if it isn't, I apologize ahead of time. So we still have that car sitting out there in the field. Hasn't moved all winter. So we get wood smoke coming out of the chimney there. I love that smell. So it looks like Governor Janet Mills is up to her old tricks. Maine had a budget shortfall, and shockingly, huge deficit that now they're going to have to make up. Maine's budget is usually $8 billion a year, which isn't much compared to other states, but there's 1.4 million in the entire state, so you can do the math. It's a pretty big budget. So anyway, it went from 8 billion a year to 11.6 billion because of government spending here in Maine. A lot of social programs. And Democrat foolishness. So of course, when you increase your budget by that much, from 8 billion to 11.6, you're going to have to come up with the money because you've expanded your budget more than 25, probably closer to 30%. You've increased spending. And the only way to do this is to raise taxes. So we got a 1% income tax increase. And I just read today that we're getting a 1%, $1 per pack of cigarette increase. Now, I'm not a smoker. One of my brothers is, though, but he makes good money and can afford it. But there are a lot of other people who do not make good money and are smokers. And what happens when something is needed and people don't have much money for it? That's right. What we used to see here in Maine a long time ago, and is probably still going on everywhere, is a black market for illegal cigarettes. Black market prices are much cheaper than the government taxed prices for the same product. The products are either stolen or acquired some other way. Sometimes they will be cigarettes from a foreign country, I should say, not former country. So, pretty interesting, I think. Excuse me. All right. I'll flip the camera around. Hold on a second. All right, everybody. Sorry, I had to adjust something. There we go. Had to adjust my thingamahoozy I carry with me for protection. So anyway, needed both hands to do that. Hi everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful day, beautiful week. And we're going to walk six miles, like I said earlier. And I wanted to mention that Jared Golden is a son of a bitch. Now that he won his election, he's back on the gun grabbing thing. I told you he was going to do that. They all do that. So, yeah. I told him GFY. Like Elon Musk would say, go fuck yourself. I got no use for gun grabbers. And, you know, these people that do things like they say, the Second Amendment is not a God-given right. God did not write the Constitution. No, you're misinterpreting what that means. The Constitution was written for people that are religious, non-religious, everybody. That's what Samuel Adams said. John Adams, I mean. And if you read the Bible and the Constitution guarantees every American citizen to have firearms to protect themselves and family. And its intent was for that, as was so the government weren't the only ones that had the guns. Keep the government honest. So the God aspect in it is there are many, many, many biblical passages that explain very clearly that it is okay to take the life of someone else if they are threatening your life or your property. There's even quotes in the Bible about killing people, stealing your stuff. And of course the infamous eye for an eye one. So, and there's like 24 different passages in the Bible about killing in self-defense to protect your friends, family, loved ones, and your property. So yes, I have a God-given right to own firearms to protect my property, myself, friends, and family, and to protect myself from my own government. So if Maine decides to go that route with an assault rifle ban, I have caught wind of Governor Janet Mills mulling it over in her progressive brain. And what she's doing is she's weighing the political cost of it, is what she's doing. So I'm pretty sure Democrats are going to have that on their agenda this year. And it's time to show up in mass and protest. And I'm going to do that. So I think it's going to be time to do that if they go that route. Anyway, it would be nice if Congress and the Senate would actually pass something before then, but I'm not going to hold my breath. All right, we'll get that topic out of the way. So anyway, today is January 13th. The security camera is telling me I'm currently being recorded. Goodness. So, it's telling me again. I don't know if you can hear that. Doesn't matter. I'm just glad it's warm enough to walk today. Snow is soft, a little melty, not quite melting. I am wearing my sneakers, so I have to be a little careful about ice patches here and there. Sneakers are not good on ice. Oh, it is a nice day for a walk, though. So I'm starting to feel a little tightness in my lower back, on my left side. That's the side that takes up slack from my back injury on the right side. So that's why it's good to walk as often as I do over 50, because it'll keep all your joints lubricated and functioning, your muscles stretched, your tendons strong. But always consult your doctor first if you have some pre-existing condition of any kind, really. So I'm healthy except for my lower back, and my lower back tells me when I need to take it easy and when I don't. But after all these walks, my back does get strong, and the reason why I'm feeling it today is I haven't been walking as much. So that's what we got right now. I have to take the days when I have them. This guy over here walking his dogs. I'm going to cross, make life easier for all of us. Whew. Hi, how are you? So a little while ago the sun was out. That'd be nice, but it's still warm without the sun. If you consider about 32, 33 degrees warm, which it does feel warm after what we've had. And I know it's over 32 because we have standing water and slush. So it's definitely warmer than 32. So that's one fear I have for Maine. Maine is a purple state, but right now Democrats have, well, before this year's election, they had what you would call a firm grip on the House legislation and a kind of a lead on the Senate. But they have lost seats in both chambers here in Maine in the legislature. They have a slim margin in each one. So it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to pass gun bans and things like that. Because like I've explained before, a lot of the Democrats in the legislature are from red districts. They ran as moderates. So that's going to be a problem that Democrats have. So we'll see what comes of that, but realistically, See what happens. Realistically, we don't have a lot of Republicans here from blue districts. So that definitely benefits us for sure. There's the flag. I always salute when I walk by. That's the Vietnam veteran who has the POW MIA flag with the US flag. He's a nice guy. Seen him out there a few times. So as you know, if you're over 50 watching this, you know physically you're not what you used to be, which is normal. Even those guys that stay in really good shape, it has to be maintained. Recovery time is slower, and the best thing to do is pick something you can handle at a pace that is not going to wear you out for the next day. For me, that's between 5 and 6 miles a day. For you, it might be less, maybe more. So don't be all macho about it and say, well, I saw somebody that does 5 or 6 miles, I have to do that too. I see people online that walk 10, 15 miles a day, or they'll run. They're still running in their 50s. So my running days are over, mainly because, and this is important, I am not a small guy. I'm not a light guy. I have lost 40 pounds. Actually more than that, closer to 50. Somewhere between 40 and 45, I would say. Because I did weigh 270 at one time. And I'm between 220 and 225 now. Which is my good weight because I'm about 6'3". That's a good healthy weight for somebody my height and size, for a male. And I'm the same weight I was when I was a fit 18, 19, 20-year-old. But over time in your life, you pick up injuries. And that's really the problem. So your mobility when you get old is highly dependent upon injuries you did when you were younger. When I was 10 years old, I almost lost my right leg to an infection. So I have some cartilage missing because it got eaten away by the infection. And this was in the 1970s. Technology then wasn't as good as it is now. They didn't have arthroscopic surgery to fix things. And now I have naturally built up scar tissue. And it doesn't bother me walking. However, running is a different story because of my weight, my height. If I was 5'8", 5'10", 150, 160 pounds, probably would be a lot better, but I'm not. So, coupled with a back injury, that's one of those things that is an issue. Now, I used to ride a mountain bike for many, many miles at a time. Used to ride a bike everywhere. But I no longer do that because the patella tendon on the front of my knee, just underneath it, on top of my shin, gets inflamed, and I'll start limping around for a couple weeks. And the same thing happens when I try to do jogging. Now, I can run to save my life, probably be able to do a mile or two, just from the stamina of walking every day. But today, for example, I do not feel as strong as I did before winter. And that's because of walking just 3 times in 2.5, 3 weeks. So, and it's not even my wind. It's not wind. It's my lower back because of that injury. So it's not specifically the injury itself that's hurting. It is the muscles that compensate for the injury naturally, because my knee injury was on my right side. My lower back injury is on my lower right side. So my left side is compensating for my right side being weaker. So that's why that muscle is the first to start giving out when I start losing the stamina. And I remember when I first started walking every day, first couple of walks, actually first couple of months, that lower back injury would be absolutely burning to the point of being very uncomfortable at right around the 3.5 mile mark or less. Now, it's not so bad, but I'm feeling a different kind of discomfort today. It's a muscle that isn't injured. It just hasn't been used. So it's going to start loosening up on the last couple miles. Then if I get to walk tomorrow, it'll feel really good. Problem is, I've been able to walk, then have 2-3 days off from walking. And we got this woman coming up here who's running. Wish I could still do that for long distance. Anyway, so they're still remodeling this house here, replacing all the windows. Oh. Put this around. See if I can pinch that. Always something to fix. So the other thing I want to talk about is seers. People that can tell things that are going to happen. First of all, I give almost all of them no credit at all. I just follow the ones that have shown to me that they have some kind of thing. Now, the one that I do see online that I guess I would call that I trust, just because he's been right more often than he hasn't been, but he's not always right. And a lot of times when he's not right, he just doesn't have enough information to come out and say that something's going to happen or not. But the guy that predicted Trump's assassination attempt at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, even describing the bullet just missing his head and going by his ear, which when he prophesied it, he said that the bullet, and he even had the correct side, exploded his eardrum, he said, which of course didn't happen, but that's what he said he saw. So, but it was close enough. He said he went down on his knees on the stage, and at that moment became closer to God than he's ever been, and was kind of born again after that. So anyway, he also predicted the attack in New Orleans, talking about somebody in a vehicle running people over, and he named Bourbon Street, and he was talking about these bars there, and people were in the street intoxicated, which made them easy targets because they were walking around drunk, basically. And that happened. Now, the reason why he's not always right is he said God told him there were going to be three attacks that day, on the same day. He named Nashville, Tennessee, New Orleans, and he named Las Vegas. He also mentioned something about the Arizona border with people that were going to come across it and cause a problem, which that didn't happen either. But the manifesto of the guy that blew up the Tesla outside Trump International Hotel, or Trump Tower in Las Vegas, said in his manifesto that if he felt he was being followed by the feds, he was going to blow himself up at the Trump Hotel. But his plans were to explode the Tesla and then cross the border with Arizona. So it makes you wonder if that's what this guy saw, or if he had just incredibly blind, dumb luck in that. And I'm talking about the seer. But it makes you wonder, because we had the New Orleans attack and we had the Las Vegas attack, which was kind of a lone wolf kind of guy. And what he said was the one that was going to be in Nashville, which was supposed to be the same day as New Orleans, was going to be the worst one out of the three. So that didn't happen. That doesn't mean there wasn't an attack planned. Maybe they changed their mind and canceled it for some reason. Maybe some event they were going to do it at was canceled. Maybe there was no attack at all planned, and this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Or maybe people praying to God because he mentioned it ahead of time, maybe it thwarted it from happening. It's called interceding, where you pray to intercede an event, a bad thing happening. Regardless, nothing happened. But when you get 2 out of 3, and you also predict an assassination attempt on Trump, it's a pretty good record. And it's not so much just predicting an attempt, it's all the detail it was giving. 3 months in advance for the Trump one, and 2 months in advance for the Bourbon Street one. Now, granted, you can just say, well, this is going to happen in New Orleans. I don't know what date. I don't even know what year. But he said it was going to happen by the end of this year. And it did. And, meaning 2024. So that's what happened. Now, Bourbon Street's probably the most popular street in New Orleans. As far as, you know, name a famous street in New Orleans, most people are going to say Bourbon Street. Songs have been written about it. You get my point. So, yeah, you could put that in the category of, you know, he got lucky. But then you throw in Las Vegas, then now you get Nashville that never happened, and you're like, well, maybe he's just throwing stuff on the wall, see what sticks. So anyway, some of his predictions have happened, and he has to be one of the luckiest guessers there ever was. But this fire going on in Los Angeles right now is pretty huge, and he didn't see a damn thing about it. So you figure that would be something he would see. But he did not. Ooh, sorry about that. So you get my point. All right, that's my lead up to what I'm going to talk about next. He says that he didn't see anything on this, but a friend of his that is a pastor who also has visions that have been pretty accurate says that January 19th, hate to say it, January 19th, Trump was going to be shot at a rally that he was holding, in what he described as a hockey arena. So Trump is going to have a big rally on the 19th. This guy says that this guy that had that vision in a dream didn't know that there was a rally. He's not really a Trump supporter. And so it's interesting that he would dream that. And I have told you about a similar dream I had in the 90s, which I still don't have an answer for. But it has haunted me ever since. And for new people on my walk, I'll explain it briefly. But first I need to explain what this is. I just found this jug while I was walking. It looks like a big 3-gallon, maybe, yeah, about 3 gallons. And that's going to be what we call chute cycling. Chute cycling is where you pick up empty jugs, fill them up with water, bring them to the shooting range, and then we shoot them with bullets. So this is going to get shot. One this size will probably be a 308 or a 30-06 maybe. Something big enough to handle it. So that'll be interesting. So far in the past 2 weeks, and I think I've only been on about 4 walks in about 3 weeks, going back before Christmas because of the weather. That I have plenty of jugs to shoot that I have picked up while walking. I always get something walking on trash days. Today is not a trash day, but here it was, sitting there on the side of the road. And because they're empty, they're easy to carry. But anyway, this guy had said, not the guy that predicted Trump's first assassination attempt, which, by the way, he didn't predict the second one either. So, anyway, pretty incredible things that are going on. So, somebody said that Trump was going to get shot. Fatally shot, he said. Not this guy that predicted the first assassination attempt, but his friend that said he had a dream. And the reason why I put merit into that is because I've had my own experience with that, as I was alluding to a couple minutes ago, where my mother had passed away in 1996, and in 1998 I was 30 years old, and I had a vision while I was sleeping where some people would just say, oh, you just had a dream. No, this wasn't a dream. This was like nothing I have ever had in my life. I knew what it was when I woke up, because I could still feel inside me what I felt. I felt like my mother, who had died, was giving me a message. I could feel that inside me, energy-wise. I don't know how to describe that. She was telling me something. I saw a vision of a cup. It was a Star Wars cup, and it featured Obi-Wan Kenobi clearly on the cover, with a blue sky and some clouds behind him, with a blue lightsaber drawn. And it was weird because it looked like a middle-aged Obi-Wan Kenobi, which didn't exist at that time. They hadn't made episode 1 yet, and even Obi-Wan in that one was a youngster in his early 20s, with Qui-Gon Jinn in there as well. So anyway, I saw that vision of a large soft drink tumbler in a wood cupboard, kind of tucked off to the side in the front. And that's all it was. But there was a message behind it. I was being told that that was important. So, fast forward quite a few years to 2005, where the third Star Wars movie comes out, Revenge of the Sith. Where we have a middle-aged Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I'm going to see that movie, and just as I'm getting to the movie theater inside after I bought a ticket, what do I see? I see that damn cup I saw. Exact same thing. Same picture, same photograph, same Obi-Wan Kenobi. And of course, I was speechless. What could I say? I had a vision that happened. So, alright, so what? I find a cup. Alright, whatever. Go see the movie. Bring the cup home. Where am I going to put the cup? I'm looking. And I open a wood cabinet door. Put the cup inside, and there it was. Exactly the same image I saw in my vision in 1998, but this was 2005, 7 years later. Now, what's the significance of that cup? That I don't know. But I do know that my mother was trying to tell me something. That I had to pay attention. And it had to do with Star Wars, obviously. And I did meet somebody through a Star Wars website that same year before I found that cup. And I ended up becoming good friends with her mother. And that's a whole story in itself that I'm not going to reveal here. But I don't know if my mother was trying to warn me. It kind of felt like she was. Or I had to make sure of something. So I still to this day don't know what that cup meant. I have an idea, but maybe that story's not over yet. But that did happen, exactly as I said. And it's not a fluke. So when these people come online and say they see something that's going to happen, and they have a proven track record, it's hard to ignore them for that reason of personal experience, for one, and the other, that God does communicate to people. And I believe my mother, who had passed, was communicating to me, and unfortunately I didn't get the message. Still don't know what that meant. So maybe I'll find out someday. So anyway, welcome to Walking with J.Beau. This is your first time. If you've had similar incidents happen, I would love to hear them. I love reading comments. I don't care if they're 10 miles long. Some crazy things happen that are beyond our control. And I am a believer. I believe in God. I am a Christian. And a Catholic. Not a practicing Catholic. Well, there's a lot wrong with the church right now, including the Pope we have. I don't like him at all. He's not a good man. He's a socialist out of Argentina. The church was supposed to be a vessel for God himself, and something has changed with the church over the last 20 years. Pope John Paul II was awesome. Pretty much a right hand to God's message. This guy we got now, though, nope. So anyway, I'm gonna switch hands. My left hand's falling asleep. Whew. All right, that's much better. So, I do like how the selfie stream view looks, selfie view. And walking like this is kind of important to get a message across when I'm walking. And so anyway, we're gonna walk on. Police officer was nice. Anyway, this guy was predicting that January 19th at that rally in Washington, D.C., that Trump was going to get shot fatally. Like his only mission was to win the election. J.D. Vance would end up being the president. That's how that would work. So I'm hoping that guy that I do trust, his friend, is wrong. And like I said, the guy that I do trust did not predict anything. So he just has a YouTube channel, and he was talking about somebody else that I don't know. So anyway, part of the problem with these people that have visions is they got to eat too, right? So they throw a lot of stuff on their channel because the more views and clicks, they make money. Now, it's not evil to make some money, and I don't blame them, because quite honestly, they've earned it with what they have shared. So he does have charity information set up, and he says that the proceeds that they make go towards spreading the word of God, but there have been a lot of charlatans who have said the exact same thing. So my word of advice is, don't blindly trust anybody, even if they're trustworthy. Sad to say it, but anyway, the only reason why I watch this guy is he has been right more times than he hasn't. And so take it for what you want. Personally, I wish Trump would not do a rally on the 19th. I don't think it's necessary. Which is why it bothers me. He's already won. He's going to be sworn in the next day on the 20th. I mean, the only thing it serves is basically, not saying it in a derogatory way, but it serves his own ego. And I understand he loves doing these rallies, and he loves the people that voted for him, legitimately. And he wants to have a final rally. It's going to be the last MAGA rally. And before the election, it was the last rally before the election. And he said if he didn't win, he was never going to be running again, but he would probably hold MAGA rallies for other candidates at other elections later on. And so, as far as I know, this would be the last official MAGA rally. And I understand why he wants to do that. But I also understand that the Middle East wants him dead, because he is going to take care of them. And Iran wants him dead. China doesn't want him to be president. Russia doesn't want him to be president. NATO doesn't want him to be president. The EU does not want him to be president. Nobody wants him to be president. Except us. Because those other people don't want him to be president. So there's plenty of reason out there to get rid of him. Not to mention the lefty lunatics in this country who have already tried to kill him twice. And I just don't want anything bad to happen on that day, because we got so much hope and promise for the 20th, the day after, with executive orders that are going to be going right out the door immediately, which I think would still be signed by J.D. Vance. So on day one, Trump has announced over 100 executive orders. That is a shock and awe campaign, unprecedented. We've never seen that many signed on one day. And I think Trump has just learned that he's going to beat the Democrats at their own game using their own game. This is what the Democrats do. There's going to be so many things in those executive orders to file lawsuits against that I don't think the Democrats will be able to keep up. Plus, they don't have Congress, and they don't have the Senate. So this is a great time to just do a whole bunch of executive action, everything that he can get away with constitutionally, and just go for it. Almost everything Biden tried to do got turned over by the courts. It took a couple of years. Trump's going to reverse all the shit he did, excuse my French, and we're going to have some sanity and common sense back. So I don't want anything to happen to Trump on the 19th. But Inauguration Day is the 20th. And there are contingency plans for when a president cannot be sworn in on the 20th that won the election, such as stroke, heart attack, death, whatever. And the Constitution has a chain of command. So we would end up with J.D. Vance as president. The vice president would be the Speaker of the House, chosen by whatever house had the majority. So more than likely, in the event of something like that happening, Mike Johnson would be made vice president, J.D. Vance would be the president, and we would continue on with Make America Great Again, and J.D. Vance would be the youngest president we've had since JFK. I believe JFK was 42 or 43. It's about the same age J.D. Vance is, I think. So, well, we don't want to see that happen. It's things we have to talk about, right? There is a natural order of things with that. And I'm going to flip the camera around now, because my right hand's falling asleep. My left hand keeps falling asleep trying to carry the camera. It's like when you sit down the wrong way and your leg falls asleep. That's what my right hand feels like right now. So I'm going to flip this around. Camera, folks. Sorry about that. Yeah, we got it now. So now we've gone 4.5 miles. Switch hands. Whew. Make sure I don't get run over. Starting to get the feeling in my right hand back. There we go. Now we got an apple tree here. If you're wondering what happens to apple trees in the wintertime, well, sometimes they hold their apples and the apples hang on the tree and rot. Then they're going to fall off, re-fertilizing the tree and the grass, and the seeds in the apples may actually grow new apple trees. Isn't nature amazing? So the other thing I want to talk about is coming up tomorrow, actually, January 14th. Already it's here. We're going to start having Senate hearings for Trump's nominee picks. And tomorrow we're going to start things off with Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. That's one of the high-profile ones that the Democrats are going to try to badger into giving bad answers. Chuck Schumer has sent out his memo to the Senate caucus of Democrats, calling for this to be a time for them to seize momentum back from Republicans by really going after Trump's nominees. So the Democrats are going to go Pat Kavanaugh on Pete Hegseth. Don't be surprised if there's a new sex accuser that comes out of the woodwork, which won't be true. Many Republicans have already stated, if we don't have a trusted and verified source or somebody's not wanting to remain anonymous, we're not going to give it any merit. So that has put the kibosh on the media, who has lost a lot of their teeth because they wasted so much capital going after Trump. And what I mean by capital is credibility. The media is no longer credible to most Americans, the majority. That's just a fact. People are using alternative sources for media, getting all the facts as well as some propaganda, and using their own judgment. That's what I do. So, we have a lot of stuff coming up. That's going to be very important. Pete Hegseth tomorrow is going to be at this hearing. It's going to be interesting to watch. And the Democrats are going to go after him with both barrels. They are going to be relentless. They've already stated that's what they're going to do. And the two big ones they want to get, there's actually three, but they need to be careful with RFK, I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. They need to be very careful with him because 30% of Democrats like him. And to put that into context, about 30 to 40% of Democrats are those rabid ones that really support all this gender identity crap and woke politics. And you have about 30% of Democrats that really like RFK Jr. So Democrats are going to have to be very careful what they say to him and how they treat him, because that could come back to bite them at future elections. So that will be interesting to watch when that happens. Tulsi Gabbard is going to be another one going that the Democrats want to unseat from any authority she could get, mainly because she denounced the Democratic Party, accused the DNC of cheating against Bernie Sanders, which they did. She accused them of cheating in 2020 with Joe Biden, which they did. And the DNC mounted a defamation campaign against her, calling her a Russian asset, with the same kind of stuff they did to Trump, which all turned out to be bunk. But she got mad and she left the party, and they resent her for that. Because Tulsi Gabbard was groomed out of Hawaii as a Democrat, and she was pretty much picked to have a big future role with the Democratic Party in some form or capacity, and she didn't want any part of it. And I admire her for that. greatly. So they're going to be looking to tear her down because she has sullied the name of the Democratic Party. So we will get to watch that as well. That is going to be interesting to watch. Make no mistake, so we will watch like everybody else, see what happens. The Democrats are very desperate for some kind of wound given to Donald Trump. The Democrats have even been getting angry with the media because the media is not insulting Trump every day like they used to. That's because nobody's watching them. Because they did that. So, they're looking for any chance to take down the king. Or at least take away some of his swords, which is what this is going to be about. I think we're going to see things just as bad as we saw with the Kavanaugh hearing for at least 3 of Trump's nominees. RFK Jr., which they're going to have to be careful. Pete Hegseth, because Pete Hegseth wants to get woke out of the military. And we're going to see how desperate the Democrats are to keep woke a thing. Because so far, it has cost them nothing but election losses. It has cost them quite a bit, actually. When you get Republicans running in swing states where they are just blatantly running ads saying that woke politics is mutilating your children and stealing your parents' rights away from you, and then Republicans end up winning those states, maybe Democrats should listen to what voters said. They didn't get beaten because Donald Trump is a con man and conned people into voting for him. I have not been hearing them say that lately, but that used to be what they said. So we're going to have those people talking to Pete Hegseth, asking him things like, you know, what do you think of gun control? And they're going to be trying to shoot all their stuff that the Democrats are trying to sell to their voters to win elections. So anyway, I had no problem telling my congressman to GFY today. In fact, I think I'm going to call his office. I'll get an answering machine and I'll leave a similar message. I'll use a nice tone in my voice. You never want to be angry or threatening, but you want to make your point that you're not happy with them. And that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, Jared Golden doesn't have anything to do with Maine politics other than trying to influence Democrats here to go ahead with trying to plan an assault rifle ban. Other states have had those in place for a while. They're not going to survive the Supreme Court. Because assault rifles are not special rifles. There's nothing special about them. They're just affordable, they're easy to maintain, and you can interchange a lot of parts easily with other firearms of the same kind. That's the only benefits. They do the same thing. It should be about time. Yep. It'll be about time to change the battery here. Well, I got a little bit of time left. Ooh, that was close. I'm wearing a different kind of belt today, and it doesn't want to hang on to my carry, and my carry keeps coming loose, almost falling out onto the ground, so that's not good. So up ahead here, I'll flip the camera around as we come towards the end part of the walk. Sorry. All right. We had an issue there. We had an issue going on there. It's actually warm enough to take my gloves off, which I did. I'm gonna go do some groceries soon. Not my favorite thing. It's Thorn Crag Bird Sanctuary. It's like a piece of the sign that on the front of that got broke. It just says Crag. It lost its thorn. So I don't know if that broke or if somebody broke it. Okay. Crag it is. On the last stretch of the walk. Turn this around. I had to flip the camera around. So anyway, we do have a shoot cycling jug today. Oh, speaking of judges, oh yeah, geez, that's almost a good misspeak. Judge Mercan, infamous New York judge in Trump's business records case, which was a scam job. Kash Patel, anticipated to be the next FBI director, Trump's pick, who has a lot of experience, especially with the Pentagon and in the previous White House, says that he wants to look into Judge Mercan, specifically his daughter, who profited $15 million coming from information that came out of the trial, where a lot of people donated money to her, and Kash Patel said he wants to follow the money because the money always tells you. And if there was anything improper there, that Judge Mercan, if it came from information that came from the courtroom, is going to be in big trouble. Also, his daughter could end up getting prosecuted as well for illegalities incurred trying to hang Trump. Now, that's interesting rhetoric on its own, but on that panel on Fox News, when he said that, Pam Bondi was one of the people on the panel who was going to be the Attorney General, and I don't see any reason why she's not going to get nominated for that. She has plenty of experience in Florida as being an Attorney General. She has gone after child molesters, all kinds of stuff. So, the look on her face when he was saying that was like, yeah, if there's something there, I could sink my teeth into that. So, the Judge Mercan story is far from over, okay? And I hope, I really do, that these people are prosecuted for weaponizing the justice system. Sincerely, really wish that happens if they did something illegal. And the little bit that I have read about Pam Bondi, she never brings a case unless she knows she can win it. So if she never brings one, don't start screaming about her not doing her job. She will not bring a case if she cannot win it. And that is especially sound advice with President Trump, because if she brings a case and doesn't win it, it's going to look like Trump is having her do lawfare for him against his political opponents. Or it was just revenge, okay? Very important to establish legitimacy because I'm going to like her confirmation hearing, because they're going to try to attack her for being a lackey for Trump, one of his attack dogs. And she's probably going to answer it, I'm just guessing. But if I were her, I would answer it with the same messages that the Democrats used. Nobody is above the law. Nobody. Not even Democrats. That's exactly how I would say it. Nobody's above the law, not even Democrats. So these guys opened that Pandora's box, and the Republicans are going to be smarter about it than the Democrats were. They sincerely thought going after Trump for classified documents, election interference, insurrection, which he was never charged with, combined with business records, and grabbing the coochie with that woman who claims that he grabbed her 30 years ago in a dressing room, which we know is BS. They just figured that would be too much for any person to overcome politically, and they were finished. They would just drop out and go away. That's not what happened. Trump doesn't quit. And now he's going into the White House. Talk about the most amazing political story ever for this country. With the exception of Abraham Lincoln's presidency, this one is pretty damn potent. Ironically, both are at times where the country is most divided. So Trump has won a lot of respect from Americans, is what has happened. And now his approval, he has a 56% approval for his handling of his transition, his nominees, and you get people lining up now to ally with him. It's really an amazing thing to watch. They went from boycotting and canceling him to basically kissing his ass now. And a lot of people like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, his biggest billionaires, are showing respect for him because now they have a business opportunity, but also because somebody tried to assassinate Trump, and they actually respect him that he got up the way he did, pumping his fist, fight, fight, fight. And that wasn't for him, that was for us. He was fighting for us, and everybody felt that at that moment. So this is a big deal. We got everything we wanted, and they're powerless to stop it, which is why I'm worried about somebody trying to take him out the 19th at that rally in DC. And I really hope that doesn't happen. I don't even want an unsuccessful attempt to happen. I don't want anything to happen. I just want it to go quietly, right? Well, anyway, that's going to do it for this walk. Coming up on 6 miles. Hope you enjoyed it. We got a Shoot cycling jug, which is always nice. Nice big one. And click like and subscribe. Share the content. And we will see you on the next walk, friends. God bless you and your family. Pray to God about a great many things, but pray for President Trump to be safe and his family members to be safe, because people like Iran would nothing more than to wound President Trump by killing one of his children, which I really don't think that would do very well for Iran politically. But I would not blame Trump for wiping them out after that. So anyway, everybody, see you later. God bless you. We'll see you on the next walk. Bye-bye, friends. Thank you for walking with me.